Welcome back to CEO Money. It's Ed Baxter sitting in for Michael Yorba. Right now, we're joining us Curt Whipple, president and owner of C. Curtis Financial Group. Welcome to the show, Curt.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
Can you
sorry
hear me?
about that. I guess I was whispering to the mic there. Curt, I've been looking forward to this interview for a variety of different reasons. There are a couple of things that stand out with regard to what you do that are very unique. But first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started.
Well, I started the business back in 1986, so we are about 31 years old right now. Started in the basement of my home under a bare light bulb and just started growing from there. And so now we have a very successful operation, and I'm passionate about saving small business and business owners taxes. That's getting taxes out of their life as much as possible.
Well, obviously, that's a big issue for a lot of us because I started my business the same way. I can remember trading with my daughter on my desk for the most part. One thing that's intriguing to me, and it is a quote-unquote non-CPA type firm that you seem to have mastered for the most part, is the ability to have a greater depreciation of assets, which is very important to small business. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, it's not so much me myself, but the bottom line is that when most people think of depreciation, they think of depreciation of a property or a business over 39 years, or if it's residential or multifamily, it's 27 and a half years. Well, if you do a cost segregation study, which CPAs never get into, and the reason for that is because it has to be an engineering-based study. It requires the knowledge of both the construction process and the tax law. And so therefore, most CPAs don't have the construction knowledge, so they don't know how to do a cost segregation study. Depending on the asset can be depreciated in as few as 5, 7, or 15 years instead of 39 years.
And I guess CPAs aren't necessarily trained to do that, so that makes sense. I think about it. One thing that also comes up is that the fact that you said that the 401k plan can be problematic for both the employee and the employer. Talk to us about that.
Well, more so for the employee, but if I can, the first thing is I want to make it clear, if somebody has a 401k plan and they're getting a match, you always want to invest up to the match. That's
right.
Free money. You can't turn that down.
I always told people to do that. That's instant return.
Yeah. The problem with most 401k plans, though, is number one, the employee in most instances really has no idea what to invest in or how they're investing. I had many retirees come to me who retired in 2007 and then later had to go back to work because their 401k plan lost 50% of its value.
It became a 201k plan.
It became a 201k. You got it. And, the other thing is 401k plans have limited options. The cost of the mutual funds internally are very expensive compared to ETF funds or things like that. And probably the biggest factor is that the government actually ends up with more money than what the employee saves in taxes. Can I share an example of that with you?
Please do.
Okay, let's say you have an employee saving $6,000 a year for 30 years from age 35 to 65. If he's in the 25% tax bracket, he'll save $15,000 a year, or over 30 years of working, $45,000. Well, now he gets to retirement. Let's say he has $600,000 built up in his 401k. He starts pulling out $30,000 a year. If he's still in a 25% tax bracket, that's $7,500 a year, which over 30 years of retirement, the government gets $225,000. What did they allow the employee to save? $45,000.
I used to tell people all the time the IRS and the government isn't stupid. They know exactly what they're doing. There are obviously a bunch of other ways to try to do that sort of thing. In fact, how can the owner of a company build a tax-free future without necessarily having limitations or taxes as far as the retirement plan is concerned?
It's a great question. Title 26 of the IRS code has Section 401k. That's how they came up with the name 401k. Well, in the same title, Title 26, there's another section called Section 7702 of the Revenue Code. And that talks about a thing called the Life Insurance Retirement Plan. A lot of people don't understand how powerful this can be, but not only does your plan grow tax-favored, it comes out 100% tax-free.
Exactly.
The difference is that with a Roth 401k or a Roth IRA, you're very limited in how much you can contribute. With the LIRP, there is no limit on what you can contribute. There's no 59.5 rule. There's no 70.5 rule. and the money's always available to you if you need it.
Preach, preach. I did a lot of those types of plans with people with different types of cash value life insurance when I was in practice myself. I guess the biggest thing, Curt, is why is it that nobody knows about this? Why is it not as popular or as well known as most people would think it would be?
It's the most underutilized thing I've ever seen in my 31 years of practice. And, just to say that Jim Harbaugh, coach of the University of Michigan Wolverines.
Oh, he's got a great one.
Yeah, well, part of his deal was $2 million a year
right
into his LIRP. That was a requirement for his contract with the U of M. Presidents have had it. Walt Disney has had it. Why other people haven't heard of it, it just befuddles me. The biggest thing I can think of, though, is that, CPAs are excellent at what they do. They're good at doing tax returns, good at doing bookkeeping. And about the only thing they know when it comes to investing is really, hey, you ought to put some money in your 401k or your IRA and get a tax deduction. And it just requires a little more training and understanding. But can I give you one example of a business owner just recently?
All right, we have about a minute left. Go ahead.
Okay. I have a business owner, 50 years old, putting in $12,000 a year for 15 years to age 65. Total investment, $180,000.
Right.
Total payout by age 90, tax-free payout at age 90, $650,000 of tax-free income. Plus, if he passed away at 90, there'd be almost another $200,000 in death benefit. It's an $850,000 tax-free benefit on $12,000 a year for 15 years.
I can relate. Curt, I want to thank you for joining us today. We're out of time. I appreciate the fact you were educating the world about how they can make more money on their retirement. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, thank you now.
Thank you for joining CEO Money again today. We have a great week together. I want to thank all of our sponsors, Ogletree Financial, Legal Shield, Lots of Yachts, and obviously Infuse, and our title sponsor, Tycon Partners. Thank you. We'll be back next week with more great content.